see the actual piston. Oh, that's a piston and a rod. And a lot of pieces.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Is that what the...
Yeah, that's what all that was.
What happened?
There's a hole in the motor where there shouldn't be a hole in the motor. That is not supposed to be there.
That's right, the little VQ that could finally gave up, but there's no time to be sad about it because the season's not quite over. We have one big event left, so let's get straight to work and get this thing running again.
There comes a point in every car guy's journey when you're forced to tear apart the machine that brought you so much joy, to undo everything you once did, to start over. For some of us, this has happened more than once, and if it's never happened to you, you probably haven't been doing it long enough. The most important part is that you pick your head up, get the work done, and get back out there, because we all know we're doing this for fun.
Next step, pull the motor. In case you were wondering how locked up this motor is, that was me trying to get the crank bolt off. Nice. Let's get this broken thing out of here. Pulling a motor by yourself in the dark, do not recommend.
I'm having so much fun. As you can see, we've got two VQs on the ground now, one with a hole in it and one without a hole in it. Now we've got to get the trans, clutch, flywheel, and some other parts off that, put it on this thing, and get rid of all the junk parts that we're not going to need. Currently, we are 8 days from hot pit, and it kind of looks terrible, but I think we're gonna be okay. Really, this isn't a terrible job. Thankfully, I was able to source another VQ really quickly. So like I said, swapping parts over, we'll get the trans mated up to the new motor, get it in the car, and as long as everything works, we should have plenty of time. My goal is to get this thing in and started Saturday, and that gives me 4 or 5 days before hot pit to just kind of make sure everything works. Now let's see if it actually goes to plan. Also made an absolute mess. Nobody mentions when there's a giant hole in your motor just how much fun stuff leaks out of it.
All right, this is what you guys are all here to see anyways, right? Look at that. Goodbye, old friend. Gone but not forgotten.
If you weren't practicing right, you wouldn't get that far.
Going in.
Six and a half hours later.
Ready?
I'm ready.
It runs. That first start was so much weight lifted off my shoulders. Huge thank you to Bailey, aka Cat Daddy, for coming out and helping me with this thing, because it was so much easier with 2 people. We got so much more done, so much faster, and as you saw, we got it started. Now there's still a lot of loose ends to button up. Obviously the front end was not on, the radiator wasn't hooked up, and I only ran it for about 10 seconds or so, but in that 10 seconds it had good oil pressure, sounded good, didn't have any crazy leaks. So I think we're gonna be just fine. It has been a mad rush. Today's really my only free day between now and hot pit, which is now in like 4 days. So definitely still stressed, but like I said, a lot of weight lifted off my shoulders. Feeling pretty good. And now it's just time to button up the last bit, get this thing back on the ground, and start gearing up for competition. Okay, it's been a couple days. You guys saw the first start in that last clip. Now we've got the radiator, the front end, and everything hooked up. So let's run this thing for a couple minutes, actually get it up to operating temperature, make sure we don't have any coolant leaks or anything weird like that. And then we can start prepping it for the event we have, which is the last round of Hot Pit Autofest, which now is in 4 days. Fingers crossed, everything's good. So far, so good. We do have one oil leak, which is something I knew about already, but I wanted to make sure everything else on the car is good before I tear into fixing that. So once I've confirmed that this thing can get up to operating temp and not overheat, I'll show you guys what that little problem is and how we're gonna fix it. Also, if you saw, there's a little bit of smoke coming from this side of the engine. I spilled a bit of oil on that manifold, so nothing to worry about there. All right, things are looking good. We're getting up to temp. Our oil pressure looks good. All right, draining the oil out of this thing. Now this is the oil that came in it. Obviously I checked it before we started it, but thankfully it looks really good. Like pretty new, looks pretty clean. I don't see anything weird in there. So we'll get this oil drained and then we'll address that leak. All right, here's the leak in question. We've got pretty much all the oil drained, so now we can start taking a look at this thing because I needed it to be totally dry, or at least close to it, and you'll see exactly why. So one of the reasons I was able to get this motor for a good deal was because where the oil pressure sensor goes, which is right here, if you can see, there's a bunch of JB weld in there because someone over tightened this sensor and cracked the housing. Now, long-term fix, we would just replace the upper oil pan, but we didn't have time to do that, so we're just gonna clean all this JB weld off and we'll try to do a better job and hope that it'll hold for just a couple days. Now, yes, I will fix this the correct way in the long term, but again, we didn't have time to do that, so I'm not gonna worry about it right now. The main goal is just to stop this from leaking because we really only need about 3 days worth of driving. We've got Friday practice for Hot Pit, Saturday competition, Hot Pit, and then Sunday we're doing a little fun day at Irwindale. They're keeping it open one extra day for us, so we get to enjoy the track one last time before it closes. And then after that, this motor's getting pulled out again so we can rebuild this thing in the off season. So like I said, we just need a quick and dirty temporary fix so we know we'll be good for this weekend. New engine means we need some new oil, and I'm super excited to announce we've got a new partner on board for the rest of this season and the 2025 season, J&A Racing Oil. For those that don't know, J&A has been around for a while. They are pretty popular in Japan. They make high performance oil for street cars and race cars. They just recently came over to the States, and I'm super excited to have them be part of my program. Thanks to J&A, we're gonna have some high performance oil in this motor and future motors to come. If you guys would like some more information on the products they have, I'll put a link down below, as well as a code you can use for a little discount. Well guys, that's a wrap. This thing runs, sounds healthy. We don't have any weird issues. I'm pretty sure I fixed that little leak under there. Like I said, it was a temporary fix. I just cleaned it up and put some fresh JB weld on there, and hopefully I did it the right way so it should stick. Like I said, we'll pull that pan off and replace it eventually once this motor comes out of this thing, because I do have a plan for this drivetrain that I'll have to tell you about later. But I think we're gonna be good. Hot Pit is in just a few days, so I've got some more work to do to load this thing up and get everything ready for that. I hope to see you guys there. By the time this video is up, it's probably already passed, but I hope I saw you guys there. It's gonna be so cool. We will be the last people doing a drift competition at Irwindale Speedway. We're doing the full FD layout, which is actually insane. The fact that I'm gonna drive this car on the big bank at Irwindale, the full FD layout. Kind of blows my mind. And it's also kind of sad because I really wanted to do that in, you know, a big dog pro car one day in FD. But hey, I got to take the opportunity because it's never going to come around again. It's a sad day to know that Irwindale's closing, but I am so grateful to get the opportunity to drive it one last time. And like I said, I hope that I see you guys there because it's going to be an awesome show. So cross your fingers we do well and this thing survives the big bank. You guys will have to wait and see what happens then. So make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one.